mean, this patch gets a gold star just for this. Just for the fact that without spending the entire day on it, I've had 2 Paragon points already. Or even 3 if I'm misremembering. Definitely out of experience though. Let's get this one on 30% more lucky hit chance. Oh my lord, I'm gonna lucky hit like crazy. Walked in and immobilized and dazed the first 2 mobs. I feel like the potions in the game are really powerful. It's a shame they don't have something like I've seen in other games. If you've got a half-hour potion, they'll have something in the tooltip about, oh well, if you drink 2 of these, you get the full hour out of it, but you can't stack it any higher. So each time you go down to 30 minutes, you can put another one on to extend the duration, and you just don't have to think about it every half hour. If you don't want to, you can think about it every hour instead. And I think that works out much better. I can't remember what was the other game I was thinking of that has that. I do find that if I look away for just a minute, my potions ran out, and apparently it's been 30 minutes, and I just never follow along with that quite so well. Oh, Elder Scrolls Online has it? That won't be where I know it from, because I didn't play that. It had like a free weekend at one point, and I couldn't work out how to turn off the general chat, and there was just infinite pages scrolling in the chat of Russians yelling something about something on the European version of Elder Scrolls, and I couldn't read it. I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. There just didn't seem it to be any way to toggle it off, and I just gave up on Elder Scrolls Online very quickly. I didn't think the gameplay was all of that for the first 5 levels anyway. Glad I only got frozen after it was all over. That could have been a bad freeze in the middle of all of that. Ah! Now that is a game that I have played quite extensively. So that would definitely be one place I would know it from. Final Fantasy XIV. I really like Final Fantasy XIV. It's a shame I kind of got tripped into going back to World of Warcraft at one of the points where it could have gone either way. I had a friend who said that he'd started the rated battleground group that I was in up again, and that he had the whole team together, and that would be able to do some rated battlegrounds. Then after a month of me leveling for the new expansion, he just said, oh no, yeah, I didn't say any of that. But he did. He just scammed me. You don't always meet the most reliable people in some of these things. Yeah. So I leveled up and I paid for several months worth of game time only to find out that there was no team, nobody was back, he wasn't doing any PvP of the sort, and it was all a lie. So, cool. Final Fantasy 16. Wow, is that what we're up to now? I think I saw a thumbnail when I was browsing past YouTube of something about Final Fantasy 16. Like, it was an impressive thumbnail, but I forgot to actually go and watch the video at any point. I remember there was a Final Fantasy not that long ago, but maybe because I don't keep track of time too well, where you've got a load of guys and they drive around in a car. They're just kind of cruising through the countryside for the entire game. And that was about the last Final Fantasy that I was looking at that was single player, and I was all like, that's a weird setting for a Final Fantasy game. They haven't done this before. Oh, Final Fantasy 15. Okay, so I'm not too far out of date. It just seemed like a weird concept. Why are there 4 guys driving around in the car? And I think I saw like either a film or 2 films that were supposed to be set in the same sort of universe as that Final Fantasy, and it was a bit odd. Like the film seemed to be set in the countries warring against each other, big political grand scale side of things, and then the game was just 4 dudes in a car. It's a bit of a weird, you know, pairing, having a game about the nation, a film about the nations, and then a game about four dudes in a car, and it's supposed to all be the same. I mean, maybe the films were the best thing in the world, but I didn't really feel like they were doing it for me. I mean, props for them for trying out something new instead of a lot of the Final Fantasy games, they're the same game, they just make the game again. It's very Zelda and Mario in that way. But that was different. Even if it wasn't good. Oh, well, that sounds like that could be good if Final Fantasy 16 is like a film that you play. Oh, really? Huh. I guess they feel that their audience is a certain, you know, age group. Yeah. I guess it's a tactic. Some companies, you know, they keep remaking their game for the new generation of the same age group over and over again forever. And they're just like, well, we'll have new customers instead of having our old customers. And I guess this is another way to go with it, where you say, ah, well, our audience that sticks with us has probably grown up a bit. We can afford to have this kind of rating on our game. See, I haven't played God of War yet. Very looking forward to it. I think now that it's come to PC, I think. But yeah, the last console I owned was a PlayStation 2, so I am a little bit behind. I do like Dragon Ball Z. I think that's an awesome series. But yeah, in England you have to pay for a TV license if you own a TV, because they accuse you of potentially having the ability to watch the BBC, which doesn't run ads, it instead takes money from citizens. And yeah, if I have a TV and hook a PlayStation 5 up to it, I always have to pay for a TV license. Which is kind of lame. Because anyone in any other country can watch the BBC's programmes, and, well, they're hardly going to take money from people from other countries. So the BBC is actually better if you're not in England. Yeah, you heard that right. I know it sounds ridiculous, but yeah, I get threatening letters through my mailbox all the time saying, you better not own a TV, because if you do, we accuse you of watching our channel on it, which you have to pay for through having a license for it, and we're gonna come and get you. And if you don't let us in, we'll call the police, and the police will come in and inspect your house for a television. So yeah, it's kind of crazy in England. They don't tell you about that part about the BBC. I mean, you listen to David Attenborough talking about all the different wildlife around the world, but the ugly side of it is that they kind of bully you into paying for their channel. Yeah, they say they've got all sorts of methods to be able to tell, you know, what you're watching and if you're watching their channels. Yeah. So I just don't own a TV. It's cheaper. All the televisions on the internet anyway. That's the thing, they have all these little clauses in there saying we've updated ourselves for the modern age, so if you own the internet, we're gonna assume that you're watching BBC iPlayer and watching the BBC online. But the thing is, they're a private company. They say they have all these authorities, and they call all of their people that come to your house and demand entry, they call them officers to make it sound like they're part of the police or, you know, something official. But they're just a private company. You don't have to let a private company in on your property. And even worse, if they did come in with the police, which they are allowed to go and get the police assistance, but if they came in with the police and they said, well, that's a computer, are you watching the BBC iPlayer on it? I would say, well, there's a computer, but good luck figuring out my password. I don't have to let you onto my computer to show you what websites I've been viewing and whether I have been watching the iPlayer. So although the internet is on there as part of their clause of you've been watching the iPlayer, pay us money, I'd like to see them prove it. They rely a lot on people just giving in and admitting what they do. So I guess lots of people just put themselves in trouble by saying, oh yeah, I watch it on the internet, but I don't have a TV license. And that's the pitfall, believing that you have to tell them. I would just use, you know, there's plenty of ways to connect to the internet without, you know, leaving a trace on what you've been viewing, so it'd just be easy enough to watch the iPlayer in a tab that doesn't record what you're doing. So I would totally do that. I think for a lot of the modern consoles as well, you can plug them into a monitor anyway. You know, you're using HDMI and DisplayPort and that kind of stuff. But then I'm using an ultra-wide monitor, and I don't think a lot of the consoles like that. They want like the proper aspect ratio, else they get kind of sad at you and mad at you and don't display at the right frame rate and display resolution and all kinds of strange stuff. I think they do a thing now where they certify certain monitors with having the full suite of things that you need to make the consoles work properly, like it's Xbox certified and PlayStation certified. Because I think the consoles now, they also have the variable refresh rates, and you've got to make sure that it's going to be working on those, because that smooths out the gameplay a lot, having the variable refresh rates. Definitely, if I picked up a console, I'd try and use it on a monitor. I've been looking to try and maybe think about getting a high dynamic range monitor. Getting all this extra darkness in the dark scenes and all the extra light in the lighting scenes. HDR seems like such a nice technology, but there's something about if you run a game where you've got lots of interface that just stays on the screen and doesn't really change, it breaks the quantum dot OLED monitors. You get like after images of things that you're not even looking at anymore. Hey Q, what's happening? Oh yeah, that's an interesting resolution. Mine's 3440 by 1440, so I've just got the 21:9 ultra wide. Oh, have you got any interesting loot yet? And what kind of activities did you end up doing? Did you keep doing the 1-star bounties, or did you get into other content? Alright. Well, slow and steady wins the race. You gotta get gear before you can rush out into all the other stuff, so yeah. I'm assuming you've found maybe 1 or 2 bounties that have got something interesting for you so far. I mean, I hope so. Fingers crossed. Alright, cool. This dungeon was called Dark Ravine. Let's see if we can find any more Dark Ravines that I may have picked up along the way. Might have to do Conclave next. I seem to have a lot of them. Yeah, let's do Conclave next. Alright, cool. If you can get like a full set of ancestral gears, there's no way you wouldn't be able to do a lot more content in the world tier 4. But I don't even think you need to cover every single item. Just a good chunk of them.
Decent value.
That's a good question. Did I click my glyph? I don't know if I did. Oh wow. I am glad you said that, because my brain was somewhere else entirely. Level 14 Earth and Sky that I almost missed out on, and then a couple more experience there. Yeah. Whoops. I would have looked quite the fool if I had not got that. I mean, that's why I'm there in the nightmare dungeons, other than the hat. So if I'd have forgotten that, that would have been devastating. I would never have known, though. I never would have caught on to that. I'm glad you're watching what I'm doing, because I'm clearly not. Wow. Yeah, I think that's my best barrier ignore. Yeah, I think I've only had 12% before on that, or 10%, so that's an upgrade. Got plenty of room here so that I don't need to go and actually look, but the rest of these I'll destroy. Hey, someone else who wants the werewolf hat. Let's all make a forum post to Blizzard and say, hey, come on, give. Like, increase the drop rate for, like, 2 or 3 weeks while we've had that barbarian loot problem drop for druids, and then make it back to whatever it normally was. Just give us a chance, Blizz. Compensation for time lost.